Hi, so I'm back again. This is for my cheek where I hit it on a rock. Anyway, another story entirely. But I'm here with another video to go with the one about sewing or stitching your Bernina carry case. And here I am. I've got an awl. I'm using this one that I was a bit derogatory about, but quite frankly, it makes a decent awl. I wouldn't stitch with it, maybe, but it's going to be good for puncturing the holes. So all of these holes where the stitches were already in here, probably done by a machine, but regardless of how they were done, because we're going through extra layers on the inside of this case, we have got, let's see, can you see there? We've got all these extra layers of card and stuff because this was covered after, the inside was covered after it was stitched. So just to make it easier when you're stitching, I go around and I puncture all of the holes out again. So it takes a little bit of a wriggle and a push on here. Oh gosh, there go the feet. Sorry. And I puncture all the holes. I've done all of these ones here, so I've only got a little bit more stitching to do down this one side. So I'm going to finish that, puncture the holes. I try and get it back into the original hole here on this side as well. So I try and go through there and through the hole it made originally as well. And then I can go and do the stitching. That way it won't shred the thread as much, and equally it will also make it much easier for you to stitch. I will come back when I'm done with this. Okay, I've finished stitching all along this right side of the case, and now I'm going to concentrate on this side here. The issue I've got with this side of the case, whoops, I don't like to let that happen, I don't want it to drop open, is that there is a piece of wood, I think, in this section here. And of course there's this metal as well, which I want to avoid. So my stitching will start after that rivet there. But this is very thick here. I'm going to get a very fine drill bit, and probably less than 1 millimeter. And I'm going to drill all of these holes through instead of punching them through. Because here you can see where I've done the punching. And what it does is, this was already split from when it was broken. But that layer was originally covered by this paper. I'm going to probably recover the inside of this with a nice fabric. So that's what I want to avoid, is punching all of these holes through the way I've done here manually. And instead, I'm going to drill these holes through so that it looks a little bit neater for now. And then when I'm done, I will get a hot iron. I've got one of those tiny little irons that you use for quilting, which I don't actually ever use, or I'll get my soldering iron, and I'm just going to snip all of these threads off and put the soldering iron against them. Because this is a nylon, it'll actually stop the knots from coming undone. If you're using a cotton or anything like that, then I would suggest you put a bit of fabric glue or PVA or something like that onto the knot so that the knot doesn't unravel over time. And that'll prevent the case from breaking apart in the future. Unfortunately, this layer here has got damaged, so we won't bother too much with that. If you're really keen on restoring this properly, you could get the matching paint. I'll just clean all of these up and make sure they're nice and neat. And I may put a little bit of elastic, a new piece of elastic into this, so just that it looks a little bit nicer. It would, however, mean me taking this off potentially, or I could just cut a little slit here and thread it through and stitch it by hand on each end if I don't want to take the whole thing apart, because you can see this pocket was stitched to this cover and then it was pasted down and it started to come apart over the years. And that's what I'm thinking of removing and covering with fabric. The other option, of course, is you cover it with fabric and you leave this in place so that it's still got the original contents under here if you're worried about that. So that's the plan anyway. I'm going to finish this off, and that will be this case back in use and able to withstand the rigors of carrying an old vintage Bernina sewing machine very nicely. But yes, I'm pretty happy with how that's come out so far. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.